Welcome to the April JEA board meeting where I think we're live, ready to go. If I could ask everyone to please stand for a moment of reflection, and Mr. Bowers will lead us in the pledge. So we'll have to stand for just a moment of reflection. Thank you. Mr. Bowers?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. On your agenda, I will ask for a motion to adopt the agenda that you have within your book.
Second.
Moved in second for adoption of the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So unanimously. Safety briefing, can't read, bifocals. Dennis Burns, Manager Recruitment. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Dennis Burns, Manager of Recruitment Services, and I have a couple of announcements for you today. In case of an emergency and we need to evacuate the building, we'll use the stairwell to the left of the elevators. As you leave the room, please be mindful of hazards such as people and chairs. We'll ask you hold on to the handrails as you leave the stairwell. Going down to the first floor, we'll convene at the corner of Ashley and Main. Melissa, I believe you've agreed to do 911 for us. And Jeannie, I believe you agreed to do security. Anyone CPR certified? All right, well, you'll be able to do that for us. All right, as a reminder, restrooms are located to the right of this exit, and also please remember to turn your cell phones to silent. Again, I'm Dennis Burns, Manager of Recruitment Services. I serve under Angie Hires, Chief of Human Resources, and Pat Malis, Director of Employee Services. A little about me. I've been employed with JEA for about 3 months now. Born and raised here in Jacksonville, Florida. I recently relocated back to the area from Winfield, Alabama, where I served as HR Director for a hospital system there. Glad to be here, and thank you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Under presentations, American Public Power Association Award. Always glad to see that. Stephen Cooper, who is Director of Electric Systems Asset Management. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Board, Chairman. Okay, and let me go ahead and put this on the desk. This is our plaque that we received at the APPA Engineering and Operations Conference last week. This will accompany the plaque that we received in 2011. Back in 2011, we applied for and received the Platinum Award, which is the second highest of the 3 levels. There's gold, platinum, and diamond. And this year we received the Diamond Award. And just a little bit about RP3, Reliable Public Power Provider. It's a program that recognizes utilities in 3 areas of reliability, safety, workforce development, and system improvement. The criteria is judged by an 18-member panel, and that panel includes folks from, for example, Fayetteville Public Works Commission in North Carolina, Santee Cooper, a co-member in Co-Electric with JEA, a safety committee officer from Colorado Springs Utilities, and a representative of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. The 184 utilities out of the 2,000 utilities that are members of APPA have applied for the RP3 designation, and it works like this. It was every 2 years, but now it's gone to every 3 years. So right now there are currently two sets of utilities who are holding the RP3 designation. And of those two sets, 184 utilities, 62 are gold, 87 are platinum, and 35 are diamond. And as I said, the submittal that JEA sent to APPA consisted of 1,000 pages, a lot of documentation covering the 4 areas. And I was happy to work with over 50 individuals within JEA, and was also very pleasantly surprised that I got almost immediate response from all of them. And they were very helpful, and the next slide shows their names. I'm not going to name all of them because there was quite a few, but they certainly were a big part of the success that JEA enjoyed in receiving the Diamond Award. We also share the Diamond Award with 3 Florida utilities, Beaches Energy, Fort Pierce, and Lakeland, and then a Platinum Award, Kissimmee, and Tallahassee and Keys Energy. So with that, I also have some coveted RP3 pens for each one of the board members. Paul already has his, so I'd like to pass those out. Thank you.
Oh, pen. I thought it was pen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, I thought
Thank
it was
you.
this kind of a pen.
Yes, yeah, okay.
We still take it. And there are only 12 diamonds?
30, there's 30 some. There were 12, if you look at the 2011 and 2012 group. The 2011 group fell off, and then this year, actually, several, over 20 utilities received the Diamond Award. So
Wow.
it looks like everybody's trying to get tuned in to what the board is looking for, so the panel, the review panel is looking for. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kim Wheeler, manager of T&D Preventive Maintenance, and Joe Anderson is going to talk about Arbor Day Foundation Tree Line USA Award. Welcome, Kim.
Afternoon.
I
Thank
take it
you.
you're Kim.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Didn't
I'm
look
not
like
Kim.
Joe.
I didn't wear the black suit, so you wouldn't get me mixed up with
Yeah.
him. So.
Quick study that, Chairman.
So I get the big bucks. I picked up where I left there.
Well, my title is the manager of transmission and distribution preventative maintenance. But what that really means, because when I say it, nobody knows what I mean. So really what it means is my staff of engineers, infrared techs, arborists, and foresters, we stop the outages that never happen. And occasionally that involves cutting a tree limb here and there. And historically, we would efficiently and discreetly run through the neighborhoods very quietly, hopefully unobserved, and remove these electrical hazards we call limbs. Kind of like the tooth fairy or Santa Claus, and everybody will wake up the next morning, yay, our lights are on and I'll be on time to work. Ironically, most of our customers, we hear more concerns about our proactive work, and we hear more appreciation for our reactive work, which is after the lights are already out. So we needed to do something. We needed to earn our customers' trust. So about 4 years ago, we began the process to achieve the designation of Treeline Utility USA. And honestly, we already did everything the designation stood for. It was simply a matter of putting together all of everything we did and putting a comprehensive application in, which was a lot of work, but we've done it 3 years in a row. We've become certified and designated Treeline Utility USA. We want to earn our customers' trust. We want to show them that we're professional. We want to show our customers that we're qualified. But most of all, we want to show our customers that we care. That's the important thing. And fortunately, I work in a group. My team is where the right brain meets the left brain. We got both things going on there. We got data-driven. We are organized. We're meticulous. We're methodical. Yet we're creative. We're passionate, and we're compassionate. As a matter of fact, our newest member to the team, he's a genetic anomaly. His father graduated from Harvard with a degree This is real left brain now. Wait for it. Electrical engineering. And Joe graduated with a degree from Syracuse University in forestry. And he spent the bulk of his career running around in the woods and the mountains as a forest ranger for the National Park Service. That being said, I'm going to turn it over for Joe to tell you a little bit more about the designation.
Thanks, Cass.
Well, that plaque was my cheat sheet. Kim.
Hold it for you.
Yeah. No, if I could leave you with just one statement or just one takeaway regarding the Tree Line USA Award, it would be that the power of Jacksonville is found in the canopy of trees. You would think that would be simple. You look up and you can see the power lines and you can see limbs of trees. But the way we look at it, the trees and utilities can coexist. But when you really look into details, they don't coexist. They can't coexist without effort. And that's what I like to think that this award is about. We've been recognized by the National Arbor Day Foundation, the National Association of State Foresters, for the effort we put forth to not only provide reliable electrical service, but to do that while we also enhance the urban forest. And it can't be done without effort. This award, to earn this, wasn't easy. There's only 143 utilities across the nation that qualified for that last year. And in the state of Florida, there's only 9 of us. So we realized there was a lot of effort to go into this, but before we could throw any people, any time, any materials, any talent toward this, we had to answer the question, will this award help us achieve 3 goals? Will it help us earn customer loyalty? Will it help us deliver business excellence? And will it help us deliver an unbeatable team? It wasn't until we could answer those 3 questions that we decided, yes, we should apply, and we qualified. So the things about this particular award that we had to do, which they're actually on the award, there were 5 things, 5 criteria we had to do. I won't go into detail of what we did to actually meet those criteria, but I'd like to indicate how they at least meet our objectives. The first criteria we had to do is quality tree care. We had to show that we have formally adopted best management practices in utility arboriculture. And why that was so important to us, because it is an example of how we can deliver business excellence. The second thing we had to do, we had to show annual training of our rank and file, that we actually not only keep that information to us, but we spread the wealth of that information to our employees and to our contractors. That is in direct line of us developing an unbeatable team. The third thing we had to do is we had to plant trees. Well, last year we planted 488 trees within parks, schools, and neighborhoods. Now, I like to think that planting of trees will actually meet all 3 of our objectives. But even if it didn't, we should plant trees simply because it's the right thing to do. The fourth thing we had to do, which is actually not on that plaque, but we had to develop a tree-related energy conservation program. We were able to accomplish that by our community outreach programs and educational programs, and that's going to be something we need to improve upon if we're going to earn this again next year. The last thing we had to do is we had to be able to join with our community somehow, some way, and celebrate National Arbor Day. So you can guess that a week from Friday, we will be planting trees somewhere. But how we do that, we actually join with Greenscape of Jacksonville, and we work with them in order to work with our community. And I like to think that that's helping us develop an unbeatable team too. But not just an unbeatable team within our walls of JEA, but we look at our community as our team as well. So in closing, I'd like to say that yes, the power of Jacksonville can be found within the canopy of trees. I'd like to say that we have been recognized by the National Arbor Day Foundation, the National Association of State Foresters. We've been recognized by the industry. We've been recognized by our community. And I'd like to say for the foresters and arborists and everybody involved in vegetative management, if you would stand for a moment and be recognized by the people in this room. If you have any particular questions about that particular designation or the application, These are the guys and gals to talk to. You can also check out www.ArborDayFoundation.org. But to the other people in the room, I'd like to say we do appreciate who you are. We appreciate what you do. And we are so happy that we can contribute in this way and what we've done. So thank you for what you do. And I only have 5 more words. Power on, and thank you.
Madam Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Chair and the board, I just want to commend Kim Wheeler and her team and say that their work is a study in no news is good news, as there was an issue in my neighborhood and I didn't hear anything about it. It didn't actually involve your team, but your team took care of it. I heard nothing about it, and so that was great.
Well, I was going to say the opposite. I live over in Riverside, Avondale, and you guys are, when I see customer trust, you all have earned it out there. It was not easy coming. Trust me, I'm married to a tree hugger. It's not pretty being married to someone like that for 47 years, and it's taken some time to get our neighborhood a little behavior modification, but you all have approached that in a way that's been thoughtful and a lot of communication, and I know a lot of hand-holding, and we appreciate it, but we do appreciate it that you all, when you say the canopy, everyone in Jacksonville is excited about the canopy, but we're very parochial about that, and we really do appreciate the professionalism of doing that, so thank you. All right, Heart of JEA, Monica, Chief Customer Officer. Nice bridge, right there.
Hello, good afternoon. Well, I have a very brief presentation for you today. And as we embarked on our journey of our strategic plan and earning our customers' loyalty and building an unbeatable team, and really driving the culture change, largely set by you as our board, one of the things that we ended up hearing from our employees and that we looked at as part of our strategic plan is how to do the training and create the baseline, because it's easy to say we're going to make some changes and be customer-centric, but how do we train that? How do we share that? So we started a journey of bringing that together. We took input from our leadership team, our employees, and our customers, and we developed an employee commitment and a customer commitment. But then it came to how do you really express that and share that to start the foundation for our transformation. So we put that into a video that we would like to share with you today. What we are doing is our mission, vision, values, and strategy, along with our customer commitment and our employee commitment and what we're calling Customer Experience 101, has launched, and every employee in JEA is going through that training, as well as all of our new employees. And so it really was a partnership of Angie and her team and of my team in bringing both the customer and employee together. And we'll now share with you the Heart of JEA. Oops. Got it, Russell? I'm gonna let go. Russell's driving.
What if utility services weren't measured in kilowatts or gallons, rather in care and compassion? Imagine if a utility supported families instead of grids. And just think if enjoyment was valued more than consumption. At JEA, we don't see the electricity and water we provide. We see the people behind it. They're in the pools we fill up, and on the paths we illuminate home. They're the lives that depend on us, and the neighborhoods that flourish around us. They're the ones who celebrate with us, and those we weather storms with. After all, this is personal for us, because we proudly live in the communities we serve. As employees, customers, friends, families, neighbors, and we want our city to thrive. So we spend our energy strengthening relationships, protecting nature, laying groundwork, easing minds, exploring possibilities, lending hands, building community.
Can I ask a question? How long is that, number one?
How long is that?
60 seconds or?
1 minute and 32 seconds.
And how are you using that?
That is being used in internal training. So this is being used internally with our employees and really sharing the customer philosophy, the customer experience, and really to get across the heart of JEA and what we're striving to deliver in everything that we do.
Okay for now, okay.
So,
Follow-up comment?
No, just thinking about other uses. Go ahead.
yeah.
And she knows what I'm thinking.
I do, sir. So anyhow, we just wanted to share that with you. I think it really impresses upon the focus on people, the focus on service, and it is being very well received, and we're working through that training, and all of our employees are going through the training. And there's a whole training packet that goes with this, but we felt that this was a good, quick snapshot of sharing what is rolling out in the organization.
Good stuff.
Really good. Thank you. Comments from the public? Do we have any cards? Council liaison, President Bishop is not here. I think they've got a meeting this afternoon. Okay. We have a consent agenda. If you all will look, please. We're going to take a single motion, vote and second required to approve the received amendment. Suggest that you state that, let me say that items Roman numeral 3A1 and Roman numeral 3A2 require action. I'd like to move on that, and then items 3 through 8 are provided for informational. So I'd like to go ahead and just do the motion for action for Roman numeral A1 and Roman numeral A2.
Move approval?
Second. Here, no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. And then I'll, for a motion on the informational, which will be 3 through 8 as informational. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Show it adopted. Let's go into strategic discussions and action. Bi-monthly financials. Melissa? Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the monthly financial review, and I'll start with our key financial metrics. We are in the electric system showing debt service coverage projected at 2.4 times, 230 days of liquidity at year end, of which 128 is cash, and that's compared to a cash guidance metric from Moody's of 150 to 250 days. Debt to asset ratio is continuing to come down, so we're now projecting at 75% at year end. And it's worth noting the progress that we've made on that metric in particular. Our balance sheet continues to be challenging from a financial perspective as we compare across our peer group, but we are actually 3 percentage points better in that metrics versus 1 year ago, and well on our way toward our year-end goal at this point. So some good improvement there. In the water and sewer system, projecting 2.4 times debt service coverage, 211 days of liquidity, of which 109 are cash, and 58% debt to asset ratio. And a similar story to the electric system in terms of improvement in that ratio. We're about 2.5 percentage points better than we were last year in that ratio. And again, that continues to be a challenging area for us, but we're showing some very good improvement there. Just wanted to share before we leave the financial metrics some feedback that we received at an investor conference last week. We had the opportunity in New York to meet with investors one-on-one and actually met with 15 different bond investors. The feedback, I think, is best summed up in the comment from one of the investors that we met with, who said that there are really lots of good credit buying opportunities out there. And that it's often easier to buy credits that don't have the political headwinds that we have. So it was a sobering comment, and I think gives us a good lens to look at these financial metrics in, and emphasizes the importance of maintenance of our financial metrics through some challenging external times. We'll talk about sales
Melissa, on that point, I think that for the board, and I know that we've had discussions here before, but I think that really kind of underscores and I just want to take this moment to really to compliment both senior staff, and particularly this board, as we've talked about, quote, these political headwinds during this time. I really would like for it to be a part of the minutes where Melissa says that these are not the rating agencies, these are the people who buy our bonds. This is really a critical thing. So they, as they said, they could be buying a lot of other people's bonds. And it is because of, one, what leadership has done, senior leadership has done, but the way the board has conducted, I think, the professionalism of dealing in a very unique, I'll use that, unique environment over the last couple months, of how we've had to deal with, how we've done it as a team. But I think that this should not be lost on the people who are watching us or the people that are sitting here that help make this happen. These are challenging times, and I don't think that the board should not forget the extraordinary job that you're doing by keeping this ship on an even keel. It wouldn't take very much of a wave, one way or the other, to change what Wall Street says, because when investors say that, and there's a number of you who do this for a living with investors, how we are conducting ourselves, how we are conducting issues in the public domain, but particularly with the leadership, that the leadership team is doing. It's a team effort, and I think that it's a sobering comment, but I think it's something that we, from fiduciary responsibility, we have first and foremost, we have a fiduciary responsibility and an accountability responsibility to our ratepayers. And however we got here, it doesn't matter, but our ratepayers, who are our customers, are number one. And then secondly is that. So thank you for that, but I do want that to be a part of the record, because I think it is a collaborative effort, both by the extraordinary bandwidth and depth of experience of this board, but also by the professionalism, Paul, that your leadership team is doing. So I really want that to be a part of the record, and remind us that we need to keep this even keel through these times.
I wholeheartedly agree with your comment about the board. In these meetings with these 15 investors that we had last week, the single most powerful message that we could leave them with is that we have an independent 7-member board of directors who has consistently demonstrated their commitment to the financial health of JEA. And they've seen it through prior actions, and that was a very powerful message to leave investors with. So thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
From a unit sales perspective, I'm actually going to flip to the next page where we can see this graphically. We are continuing our downward trend in sales. We had one anomalous weather month in January, which was more than 20% over the prior January. And other than that, in every single month year to date, we've been below the prior year sales, which was a low year. So we're continuing the trend in the electric system of lower sales. From a financials perspective, what that translates into is a projection through year end of forecasted sales about 3% above last year, supported by the month of January. Fuel expenses are trending above fiscal year 2013, driven by the combination of higher unit sales and higher overall fuel prices. Revenues are projected to be about $22 million below budget. Offset this year by $10 million in O&M expenses lower than budget, and $15 million of capital expenses lower than budget. Before we leave the electric system financial report, I do want to give an update on our rate restructuring effort that we've discussed at prior board meetings. We are continuing to work toward an electric system rate structure that will provide rate stability to our customers. About half of our expenses in the electric system are fixed, and that compares to 5% of our revenues that are fixed. So there's a significant structural mismatch between our fixed expenses and fixed revenues. We are reviewing various revenue-neutral options at this point to help ensure long-term financial stability for JEA. We do plan to engage customers once these options are assessed and come back and make a recommendation to the board about the best way to proceed with the restructuring. Through all of this, we're doing this with the lens of commitment to a public and very transparent process. So we will keep you updated, and more to come in future board meetings on that restructuring effort.
Melissa, on that point, can you kind of, when you say you're going to be dealing with the customer, would this, Monica, would this be like on a focus group approach? Is that what we're talking about?
And community presentation, focus group and community engagement.
Okay, we're probably working with Wayne, we're working with the council on making sure that if it's in different districts, that they'll be involved and included in that case, public engagement. Fantastic, thank you.
Great. Moving to the water and sewer system. Today, I think, is the exact right weather to illustrate what's going on with the water and sewer system this year. It's been raining. It's year to date. We've had more days of rain and more inches of rain than we had last year, which translates into sales that are about 5.6% below fiscal year 2013 in the water and sewer system, projected to be just slightly above the fiscal year 13 sales at year end. From a financials perspective, we are projecting revenue about $5 million below our budgeted revenue in water and sewer. That'll be offset by a projection of O&M expenses about $4 million below our budget in the water and sewer system, and capital expenditures are currently projected to be about $14 million below budget in water and sewer. The debt to asset ratios in both of our systems are continuing to decline. We've got more than $250 million that's scheduled to be repaid this year alone. So continuing to see improvement in those metrics. And this report provides the debt outstanding and the changes that we'll see in our debt portfolio over this fiscal year. Our weighted average interest rate in our portfolio of $5.4 billion of debt now is below 4%. And it's a reflection of a couple of things. It's a reflection of the Treasury team's work in strategically and opportunistically taking advantage of the interest rate market that we've seen over the past several years through refinancings. But it's also a reflection of the value of our overall credit strength and the importance of the maintenance of our credit ratings and what that translates into in terms of real dollars for our customers.
Melissa, the $5.4 billion in debt, is that at the end of this fiscal year, or is that presently?
That is, let's see, March 2014. That is at the end of the fiscal year. And then there's the March 2014 includes accruals.
Okay.
The next page just provides a graphical representation of the weighted average interest rates by system. They're almost on top of each other right now in terms of overall interest rates between systems. We provide this variable rate debt risk analysis each month to the board to give the board transparency into our counterparty credit risk and variable and put risk associated with our portfolio. This over the past year or two has been a fairly sleepy report. I am so grateful for this sleepy report because it has not always been sleepy. We've got about $900 million of credit facilities that are backing variable rate bonds. Our providers are all highly rated and no significant activity to report there. We've got good diversity among those suppliers and are continuing to operate that portfolio with a view toward improved diversity. We've also got a $300 million revolving line of credit with a highly rated provider. We are monitoring on the bottom right-hand side of this report. We have interest rate swaps with counterparties that are slightly more credit challenged, although we've seen improvement in some of those counterparty credit ratings. And we now have interest rate swap documents in place, which would allow us to quickly assign any of these trades should the counterparty credit go the wrong direction. So nothing new substantively to report on that. From a ratings perspective, there's no change in our ratings recently. Our most recent action was in 2013. That was by Fitch, and those were both positive changes. And our investments portfolio is right about 70 basis points in terms of weighted average yield, and that's been bouncing around that 70 basis points number for the past several months, so nothing new to report there. Any questions on the financial report?
Any questions, Melissa? Anyone? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the good report. My agenda here. Sole Source and Energy Procurement, John McCarthy, Director of Supply Chain Management. Welcome, John.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
Excellent, excellent. Each quarter, we provide a review of our sole source and procurement actions, and there's a informational item in your board packets along with a short PowerPoint presentation that I'll go through here. This report is required by our purchasing code because since these items are not sent out through our normal bid process to provide added transparency. And the report provides an annual information for the past 12 months on each formal sole source award with detailed info on each formal sole source award and emergency award and summary data for the formal and informal awards. So this slide shows data over the last year. And during our most recent quarter, we had $67.4 million in total awards. Of those, $360,000 were sole source awards, which is about 0.5%. Emergency awards were $2.73 million, which is about 4.1%. If you look at how we've trended over the past year, it's been pretty steady at about a 2% range, which compares favorably to other utilities. This recent quarter, there's a little spike, which is largely due to one fairly large emergency procurement, which we'll review in a second here. So this slide shows all of the formal emergency and sole source awards made over the last year. The items highlighted in yellow are the ones made in the most recent quarter, and I'll go over those briefly. The first two awards were emergency awards made as a result of needing the services due to an inspection during an outage, and the work needed to be done during the outage, so we did not have time to go through our formal bidding process to make the awards. It's noted that for both awards, we went out and received informal quotes, so we actually got quotes and made the award based on competition. However, they did not go through our formal process, and so we categorize it as an emergency award and put it on this presentation. The next award is about a $280,000 sole source award made to an engineering firm for design services for sewer improvements. This work was done in coordination with FDOT on a road project, and to use the same design firm as FDOT was a smart thing for us because it would help us get in and out and do the work quicker and be less disruptive on our customers. This shows the trend for the last 3 years. The process has been in good control. This one spike, as I said earlier, was largely due to that $2.1 million emergency award, again, which I said was informally bid, but was necessary to get the work done during the outage period. And that's all I've got here.
John, just to put in context, I know that this has always been, I'm thinking of Chairman Emeritus Townsend and myself, for over the years, when we've approached this from this report, are we using relative to, are we trying to do best in class or best practices, or is it a reflection of our unique community? Can you kind of help us understand how that is?
It's a tough metric to get apples to apples with the other utilities. And we've called around through our electric utilities and the Florida utilities. And the numbers we've gotten are between 5 and 10% is what our peers seem to be doing. But there is some subjectivity on what you call a sole source. So I think we're best in class, but I wouldn't say that if you talk to each utility and you called them up and asked them what their sole source, they would even know necessarily.
I just want to share with our colleagues that this leadership team over the last couple of years has done a phenomenal job of trying to make this balanced and fair, but also, I think, reflective of the community and the vendors we use so that we look like we're trying to do everything. And I just share with my colleagues that it is, unfortunately, it can be viewed at times subjective, but I will tell you, unless you've got a group of professionals who really are trying to balance that, and I can tell you that Chairman Townsend and Cynthia before him, I think, really kind of pushed the envelope to help everyone within the community understand that this is a very tough thing. You know, if you just see it out there, because particularly during the recession, times were tough and people were saying what, and I just want to compliment you and your team, because it's tough, and unfortunately, you make a few people happy and there's a lot of folks that don't, but I think the way that you've approached it, and I would just share with my colleagues that this is sometimes that you will get grumbling, and I would just suggest and recommend that if you ever have a question, you hear it out in the community, ask John straight up, and they will tell you just this type of thing. But the way that you all are approaching it, I think, is reflective of the integrity and the way that you're approaching. So continue to do what you guys are doing. You're doing a good job.
Thank you. And I would just add very strong leadership from everyone that's involved in this.
And I really want to compliment seriously Ron and Cynthia, who really took a leadership role in trying to make sure that we could be transparent and very upfront about that. So thank you for the good work that y'all are doing. Okay, script. Educating our community's children, Jane Upton. And by the way, great, thank you for your timely updates to the board and the way that you're doing this. Your team is really, for a lot of us that are traveling, for a lot of reasons, you don't get to see the paper. I really appreciate it getting early. So I don't know, you guys must be getting up at dark 30, but
you're very welcome. I'm just an early riser. You just lucked out.
Well, dark 30, and we're getting it. So I thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Good.
Mr. Chairman, board members, today I'm here to update you on what we're doing to engage our future customers. Willette Stanford is also going to share the presentation and talk to you about what we're doing to engage future employees. With all of our community outreach, we focus on our mission, vision, and values. We want to keep our alignment there, but particularly when we're dealing with youth, we're looking to educate them so that they're going to be better consumers when they are utility customers. We also want them to be able to increase the sustainability of our community and to help protect the environment. We have a number of programs currently that we're doing with youth in the community, and so I'm going to go pretty quickly through these. In the upper left-hand corner, a year ago, we started a partnership with Keep Jacksonville Beautiful, and we provide rain barrels to about 50 public schools that have gardens that they're using to educate kids not only about nutrition, but also about conservation. So they use the rain barrels to collect the water, and then they water the plants, grow the plants, eat them, learn a little bit about nutrition, and learn a little bit about conservation as well. To the right, I think you're very familiar with the Stanton Robotics. They've been here a number of times to see you all. And the bottom left, this year is our first year partnering with Junior Achievement and teaching the financial literacy program to about 7,000 high school students in Duval County. Again, this emphasis on giving young people the tools they need to be effective citizens and adults.
So Jane, those 250 rain barrels is why Melissa is showing a decrease in the, is that those 250 barrels?
It's, there's a balance, a yin and yang, right?
I knew the barrels were doing it.
Our exhibit at Mosh was changed out last year to cover energy, the resource, conservation, everything really to do with energy. Because of the way the partnership is structured, each year for the first 5 years in particular, we're going to have upgrades that are happening. And at the end of this month, we're actually changing out a few of the components, or the museum is, to put interactive elements that have some online pieces. Again, more ways to engage kids, taking it a step further in terms of educational quality. For about 30 years, we've had a materials program where we provide educational materials to K through 12 students across our service territory. These all relate to energy and water conservation as well as electric safety. This year, we're doing about 90,000 pieces with cutbacks in the schools. These have actually become more important, and the teachers really appreciate anything that we can give them to help them add dimension to their educational programs. And they're always aligned with the Sunshine State standards or whatever the current standards are. We've also layered in some interactive programs for kids. In the upper left corner, we have our program that is for elementary school, and it's called In Search of a Better Light. And so we have this actor up on the right side, Patrick Robinson, and he goes out and does presentations to elementary school children. His name is Reduce, and he's from the planet Go Green, and he came to Earth in search of a better life. And so you haven't lived until you've been in an auditorium room full of 300 kids screaming, trying to be the one that's going to get to answer the question. So this has been a very effective program, and we've now decided to move it to the middle school level, and we've created a program where we have a game show theme, which is sort of like Family Feud, where the kids are on teams and they get to answer questions about energy and water conservation. The way they get the information in the beginning of the presentation, Patrick does a rap song that has all of the answers to the questions in the song. So that's another fun way for the kids to learn and actually interact. We have a third program that's in the schools, and this is the Energy and Water Detective, and it's actually delivered by our partner, Tree Hill Nature Center. And Tree Hill goes to the schools when the teachers book the classes and teaches the kids, again, about energy and water conservation. They have role-playing opportunities. They learn about the resources, how do we generate electricity? Where does it come from? And also, what's our water source? So it's a pretty holistic program. Again, we've had about 11,000 kids participate in that last year. So far this year, about 2,500. So now, I went through that really quickly, but I wanted to leave time for Willette.
Could we, before we go there, Sheriff, just want to say something about Marsh. I want to commend Jane and staff. I made a couple of visits there during my chairmanship, and there was a sleeping giant. I mean, it was staid and old, and I want to commend you on what you've made it into. I mean, it's just a great opportunity for JEA, and you've obviously taken advantage of that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jane, I was asking the CEO, I'm going to spring this on everyone, but in looking at your presentation, I think I was just asking Paul, I think there's a conference room, at least most y'all could do is reduce my pay, but I'd almost like to have a JEA board meeting there and kind of talk, what is our investment at Mosh at this point, what we're doing on community outreach? It isn't that our small that we're doing. We just did the minority diversity thing there, but that's one of our major community engagements at Mosh, isn't it?
It is. It's $750,000 over 10 years.
Over 10 years?
Yes.
Wow. I just think that if it's possible, if you could check out the
Absolutely,
possibility
they've offered that.
to have our board meeting there,
I think we could use the theater set up.
Yes.
Set up the room, and then we could shoot those air guns things at the board members.
Absolutely.
Or something.
You would need the timer.
We get kind of like, Melissa and Monica like dueling, right there at the Mosh. Could we kind of, seriously, could we kind of check and see between now and maybe Chairman Townsend, before we leave, we could do one of our meetings at Mosh, and I think that for the community engagement, I think it'd be kind of fun.
Absolutely. I'm sure they would love to have us. And before I sit down, I do want to introduce to you our new manager of community engagement, Sherry English. She's but 3 weeks old at JEA. And she's going to be doing a lot of work, grassroots work, expanding our outreach, and really taking us to the next level. So
welcome.
You'll hear more from her later.
Okay. Thanks, Jane. Well, good afternoon. I'd like to be invited back for the meeting that's going to be at Mosh, just for the record. For the record. Well, I have the opportunity to talk a little bit about our future employees, and where Jane and I kind of tag team is at the high school level. I have the opportunity to work with future employees here at JEA. One of my slides? One more. There it is. Okay. This is a picture which reflects some of the students that we had here last year. We had a very robust co-op program last year where we were able to bring students in from various colleges throughout the country. And we also partnered with Inroads to ensure that we have a very diverse group. So we are very proud of the success we've had in co-ops. This year, we're just wrapping up our co-op program in terms of internships. We're doing interviews. This is our last week of interviews. We had over 193 students apply to be part of our summer co-op program. We also partner with the mayor to participate in his summer work program, which started last year. So we had the opportunity of having 18 students from that program to work here on site at JEA, which was very great opportunity for us and for them to partner with them. And I understand they're going to do the program this year, so we're expecting to have some students from the mayor's program. I believe the date is June 9th. It will be their start date to partner with us.
Do we have all this on our website?
Yes, sir.
We do? Okay,
Yes.
great.
In terms of leadership development, we renamed our program to the Collegiate Leadership Development Program last year to ensure that it aligned with what type of students we were looking for. This was to give us an opportunity to go back to our local colleges and partner with them. So through this program, we partner with Edward Waters College, Jacksonville University, Florida State College of Jacksonville, and UNF. So this gives us an opportunity to look locally at students to make sure we give them an opportunity to be part of our internship and give them some leadership and development as well. We also partner with Raines High School. This was through a grant last year where we were able to work with them to bring in 2 high school students from Raines High School to work here at the summer. It was paid through the grant to give them an opportunity to partner with us and understand a little bit more about what we do here at JEA. So we're hoping to be part of that again this year, but it's grant funded, so we have to wait and see if they're able to secure the funds for that. In addition to that, we have internships. Those internships are primarily focused on students who are not paid through our program, but who get the opportunity to work for college credit. UNF and Florida State College of Jacksonville both have degree programs that require that. So at UNF, they have a wellness program, so we're able to have a wellness intern with us each summer. And then Florida State College of Jacksonville has some technology positions that also have an intern. So instead of getting paid, they get college credit for the time that they work here. So we have to work with their professors to ensure that we're aligning to what their educational needs are. And then lastly is we have a robust mentoring program with the Bridge of Northeast Florida. Each summer, we're able to have students come in to work through the bridge, where it's funded through the bridge, but we get to align them with opportunities here at JEA that they may have interest in. But then we also mentor with the bridge as well, where they actually bring students here every 2 weeks that are mentored and partner with our employees to spend an hour to understand a little bit about what we do here at JEA. It's been a great partnership. We've done it, I would say, probably the last 6 or 7 years. And it's working out very well. Right now we have 9 students that we're working with at the bridge. So in terms of our future, where are we at today? Right now we have apprenticeship programs. We have 3 apprenticeship programs that are 4 years each. We have internship programs, and then we have our co-op programs. Where we want to go in the future is to go back to the high schools. In the past, we had the opportunity to partner with several high schools, and through some of the transitions of different superintendents, we've kind of lost that connection. So our goal is to go back there because we believe that's really where we need to reach down into the high schools to educate students about opportunities in the utility industry. So that's where we're going to. We're partnering with Duval County Public Schools at this point to work with them on career academies so that we can help ensure that we're getting them on the front end to hopefully develop a pipeline for our apprenticeship programs. This will give students an opportunity to understand about utility, but also understand a little bit about what other jobs are here, because just because you may not want to go to college doesn't mean that you can't work here, or even if you want to go to college, we want you to come work here as well. So we want to make sure that we're aligned to both areas in the educational field. And then lastly, we were looking at internships at the high school level as well. We do a very good job right now at the college level, but we'd like to take some of those skills and run them down to the high school levels to see how we can do some type of internships with Duval County Public Schools, especially in those areas that they have the different programming around STEM that we can partner with them. So that's kind of where we're looking to go for the future as it relates to our future employees here at JEA.
Exciting.
Very good. Comments? No. Thank you, ma'am.
Right, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Great. Any other new business? Seeing none. Old business? Hearing none. I will turn it over to our CEO and Managing Director.
Just quickly, Mr. Chairman, a thank you to the board for their time today and throughout the month. Today, I think we had an interesting meeting, certainly focused on the scale and scope and complexity of JEA. Brian led off with the complexity of the water and sewer business. We think of that sort of as our simpler, kinder business, but the complexity behind the curtain is very significant. We shared and had the opportunity to enjoy and embrace some new JEA members to the team. Dennis, thanks for a great kickoff there. And and be recognized through the wonderful leadership of the long-standing, now we've been investing $20+ million a year in the distribution system over the last 6 years and bringing it up to the level of the RP3 and the team that Steve put together to recognize or have JEA recognized for that. Anyone that's been out there with a tree trimming issue, and the team that does a terrific job there with Kim and Joe and the rest of the I'll call them scientists out there. We have a tremendous commitment and love of trees in terms of what we do to the community. So as board members, when you hear about JEA doesn't care about trees, let's do a timeout and let's engage our folks. They are really professional. I love the heart of JEA. Try to watch that daily. It's just terrific. And I would encourage you to. Educating, sometimes we get a knock there. Education, we heard that, and I thought it was really important to try to cobble all those things we do together in one presentation. So again, you get the sense of how many lives we're touching. And I'll tell you some of the complexity that happened. I had the opportunity to report to the board this month. I signed 2 swap documents. Now that may not mean a lot to most. But these are with major financial institutions, and what we agreed to do was we would swap interest rates or commodities in the sophistication of those markets. Why I report this is the unique nature of that. There is a one-way collateral agreement in that. So if the swap transaction goes against the counterparty, the bank in this case, and they owe us money, they have to post collateral, hard collateral, to secure our position. If the swap goes in the other way and we end up owing the bank money, we don't have to post collateral. We do these transactions on the strength of our credit. That's pre-2004 type structures, maybe even before that. So to bring those home now after the Great Recession is a tribute to the Treasury team, but really a tribute to JEA overall and the recognition of the capital markets. And so we need to continue to communicate and the strength that we bring to the marketplace in terms of a credit. And just proud to represent this group, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you to you and your team that does such a great job each month. In summary, for Chairman's report, let me just kind of restate the obvious. We have within the JEA Board Policy Manual section 4.9.3, the Chairman, the Board Chair may appoint members and a chair of each board committee that as provided in section 4.41. There won't be a test on this for Hussein afterwards, of the Board Policy Manual. Last month, because of the concern that has been raised over the years and under our risk factor, workforce readiness, I was really excited that our Vice Chair, Lisa Weatherby, stepped up to be the committee chair to kind of look at workforce readiness, which is a real threat for the long-term stability and continuity here. And then that was the good news. The bad news was Chairman Ron Townsend also volunteered, so may the force be with Lisa on that committee. But I want to remind that on June 15th, we're going to hear from Chairwoman Weatherby and Mr. Townsend on their first kind of look and draft look at workforce readiness, and I understand, Paul, that Lisa and your senior staff are really looking at this and kind of peeling the envelope back and looking at this. Also, in March of 2014, Peter Bowers took on as a new role the Chairman and Finance Audit Committee, wrestling it away from Chairman Townsend. But seriously,
he was running so hard the other way.
Yeah, I know. Well, we call him Chairman Emeritus. I mean, he and Herbert Hoover started that committee together. But on our Audit and Finance Committee, Peter chairs it. Helen, our secretary, Wyman Winbush, and then Hussein, our newest member, and welcome. The Audit and Finance Committee is going to be meeting on May 12th, And just to remember the part of the initiation that there's a pop test for Hussein Cumber for the next 3 meetings, so make sure that that's done. Other than that, I just want to thank the board members for your continued dedication, and to all of y'all, what y'all do for us every day. And with that, we're adjourned. Have a great day.
Okay, so good.